Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
Writing Raven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Yes!
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into one neat little package for your convenience, or when you have the time.
You are welcome.
Yeah, so we got a couple topics to cover today, so without further ado,
let us begin with the first client, Image Comics.
Okay, so we're going to be discussing Image Comics and Savage Dragon. It's a comic that I'm not that familiar with, to be honest.
Me neither.
But the reason we're covering it is because, as it says here, in an instance of tell don't show soapboxing that could rival even Margaret Bennett's worst moments, the latest issue of Savage Dragon sees creator Erik Larsen use the titular character to drop a page-long lecture in support of the COVID-19 vaccinations. Now, we try to stay very neutral on this channel, and we try to avoid politics, especially when they do come up.
Pretty much as a rule.
Yeah. So you can understand our hesitancy to cover this topic.
But it needed to be mentioned anyway because, long story short, this is not something you put in a comic book.
Yes, we're going to try to avoid the political angle. You guys get to choose to do what you guys want to do. That is not our say. But we find that having a giant page that literally talks about, this stuff in a comic book takes the reader out of the comic book. It makes it not something that the reader wants to read. It makes it something that reminds you of the real world. And a lot of comics used to be more about escapism. And it seems like that's something that's been lost lately.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't mean that some comics don't have political messaging. They do. But it's done more subtly or done in passing.
Or done well. This is none of those.
Yeah, it's not even an appealing looking panel. And if you guys would like to, you can pause and read it for yourself. It is kind of cringy, just giving you that warning.
It's definitely long, which is why we're not going to read it.
Well, we're not going to read it because, as we said, we try not to get into the political elements here because that's not what we do on this channel.
Not at all.
But it's just something that wasn't really necessary in a comic, and if I were reading this comic and I had known this character for a while or whatever, I probably wouldn't like reading this in the comic book.
Me neither.
If you guys read Savage Dragon and you didn't like this or you did like this, let us know in the comments below because we are curious to hear what you guys have to say. Again, keep things civil.
Yes, but we are interested in all opinions.
Yes, so we're not going to stay on this topic for too long. As I said, we're just going to cover it in passing. We don't think that this needed to be in the comic, at least not in the way that it was portrayed here.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next one then. Our next client of the day is Thor's Hammer.
Okay, so yes, you didn't mishear. We're just talking about Thor's hammer and Thor by proxy, but whatever. As you can see, it says, the hammer has spoken, I am Mjolnir. And then it says, Marvel Comics writer Donny Cates, alongside associate editors Caitlin Vinvet and Alana Smith, retconned Thor's famous Mjolnir in the latest issue of his run on Thor. This is not the first time that Thor's hammer has been retconned.
This is not even the first time that Thor has been retconned.
Regardless, they retconned the hammer a while back so they could make female Thor by changing it from if he be worthy to they be worthy.
Which is dumb.
Yes, but look, people liked female Thor and thought the writing wasn't terrible. I personally didn't like the character. I didn't necessarily hate the story, but it wasn't my thing.
It was meh.
And yeah, you're right. To me, it was kind of meh. It wasn't terrible, though. And we'll see how they adapt her to the big screen.
Well, considering the movie poster?
Well, that wasn't a real poster.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're going to discuss Mjolnir here because now they've retconned it that Mjolnir is a sentient hammer that's really an energy being.
That they've depicted as female when the whole language and point of Mjolnir is that it is a masculine object?
Exactly. And also, it just kind of seems weird to me. Like, not even that it was like, if it was done correctly, it could have been done, like, cool. But, like, I personally think it's just kind of a very weird change to make. And their reasoning behind it is, well, female Thor mentioned that this was something that Mjolnir once was able to do and lost the ability. I'm guessing somehow.
Then how come male Thor never mentioned it before?
I don't know. Look, I just think personally that this is just silly. I don't think it was necessary. I think it's very strange. But funny point I want to mention is that in the MCU, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, gets destroyed by Hela. So technically, now I know the comics aren't the same as the MCU, but technically we can say that Hela destroyed a strong female character.
Ree! Also, they assume the hammer's gender. Ree!
Yeah, let's not start that all over again. But yeah, it's not a terrible design. I mean, it's not great either. But personally, like, I pass on this. Like, no.
Yeah, hard pass.
I'll take Frog Thor, which actually was a thing. I'll take that over it.
Throg. I'll take Lady Loki, but the real one. The one from the comic, not the blonde.
Whatever, and then they wonder why comic sales don't do well.
This is why.
Yeah. Well, at least a contributing factor to why.
True. Shall we move on then? The next client is Ms. Marvel.
Oh boy, we get to talk about this again.
Yay.
How does this make money again?
It doesn't.
Could the MCU's next big miniseries be in trouble? Multiple reports indicate Marvel Studios' Ms. Marvel will be undergoing extensive reshoots despite having wrapped filming back in May of 2021.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, also yes.
Look, I'm not a fan of this character. I've made that very clear. If you like the character, you're more than welcome to like them. I have read the comic books, and I decided that the character wasn't for me. If that bothers you, go take a hike.
Seriously.
Because you don't get to tell me that I can't not like the character because I've read the comics. So according to your logic, I can say whatever I want. So they're planning to do some drastic changes to this character in her series, such as giving her like the power to create constructs and not actually like make her hands bigger or whatever, which is her actual power in the comics.
Because her actual power looks stupid as heck.
Yes, and it's also kind of like a knockoff of Mr. Fantastic, and it's done terribly. And look, the comics weren't so bad at first, they weren't great, but then they became even worse. And I personally have no interest in this character. I will say that according to what I've heard, they've done actually do justice with Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show and made her less unappealing. So could they make this character less unappealing? Absolutely. Does it matter to me as someone who doesn't like the character? No. And yes, you don't have to like that I have this opinion, but there's nothing you can do to change it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me that it's going through reshoots. I think that one of my fears is they got this idea from Spider-Man No Way Home that the way to make people come by and interested in stuff is to make cameos, so I'm expecting some of those.
Oh dear.
But usually the reason they're creating extensive reshoots, keyword being extensive, is because they screened it and it didn't test well.
So they're basically just reshooting the whole thing?
I don't know if it's the whole thing, but large elements of it. Which, if this far along, if you're reshooting this, it means that it probably is best if you drop the series. Now, you're not going to.
Obviously.
But I personally think you should have introduced the character in a movie first, and then given them a series. You're so confident in this character, whose comic's been canceled multiple times, who was made the main character of the Avengers video game, that flopped. Everything she's put in flops. So please, again, you keep pushing her and telling us that she's amazing, and again, if you like her, you're more than welcome to. But she is obviously not as popular as you're making her out to be. You're trying so hard to change her and make her better, but you're finna fail.
Yeah, it seems like her creator has some delusions of grandeur.
Well, yeah, her creator is Sama Amanad, and she is the literal self-insert of this character. This character is a self-insert of Sama Amanad.
Definitely delusions of grandeur.
Like the character, don't like the character. Doesn't matter what they do with her, I'm not interested. If it does do terribly, I will enjoy watching it flop. If it does well, we'll report on that as well. But that doesn't mean I'm going to watch it.
Either way, we get content.
Yep, either way we get content, and I'm still not going to watch it because, again, not interested in Disney or Marvel or anything like that nowadays.
Let's move on. Our next client is Kingpin.
Okay, so we all have a path to forgiveness, Mr. Mouse. Kingpin actor Vincent D'Onofrio, who recently took on the role in Disney Plus's Hawkeye series, claimed that the Netflix Daredevil series was canceled because of Marvel Studios' plans for Disney Plus.
If this is true, it really would not surprise me.
Oh, he confirmed it.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. And Daredevil is good!
I've heard things about it. Kingpin's character in the Hawkeye show, which doesn't have me very happy.
Yeah, we did report on that last time, I think.
Yeah, but look, I wouldn't be surprised by this. I actually liked Daredevil. I never finished it.
You should have.
When I say I never finished it, I mean like I've never finished the last series because it got a little boring to me. That's just my opinion. You can take it and do what you want with it.
You also should watch The Punisher.
I did watch The Punisher the first season. I just didn't watch the second one.
I thought they were both good.
I just didn't watch a lot of the other seasons because it just got kind of boring to me.
Yeah, the other 3 shows that they put on were kind of meh.
Look, I'm hoping that they didn't actually get rid of this character because I think that Vincent D'Onofrio did a really great job with Kingpin.
Oh my gosh, he is such a good casting for Kingpin.
Yeah, it seems like even if this was the case, it seems like they're still in good. They were able to come to some sort of agreement because obviously Vincent D'Onofrio was in the Hawkeye show.
As Kingpin?
Yeah, so I guess that he is going to be Kingpin going forward. I would have preferred to have kept Daredevil, to be honest. I probably would have watched that eventually. Mm-hmm. I have no interest in watching the Hawkeye show, even knowing that he's in it.
Yeah.
Like, just not interested.
Daredevil was interesting and done well.
I would have gotten back to Daredevil eventually, and I would have actually continued watching if they continued it. Mm-hmm. But now I just got to the point where I was kind of like, I don't really care.
You're not wrong.
It's called Marvel Apathy.
Our next client is on Disney Plus. The Book of Boba Fett.
So you can see, bad writing, no knowledge of Star Wars, laziness, terrible leadership, retcons. Together they combine to create...
The Book of Boba Fett!
Yep. A growing number of Star Wars fans have been taking to social media to mock the most recent episode of the Book of Boba Fett. The reason they're mocking it is because literally some of the characters are riding on really multicolored scooters, and they look like the Power Rangers.
Someone even did a video dubbing the Power Rangers theme song over that chase scene with the speeders, and it fits so perfectly. It's hilarious, and so hilarious that it's sad.
And also, the chase scene is very, very slow for some reason. I don't really know why.
And cringy and cheesy, kind of like a Power Rangers show where you can tell the acting is bad.
Except the difference here is that I'd actually prefer Power Rangers over this.
Whoa, that's saying something.
I haven't heard some great things about the Boba Fett show. Some people say they like it, some people say they don't. Whatever side you're on, you're more than welcome to have that opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't think this is Boba Fett. I don't think it at all suits his character. Oh, he's grown or whatever. Sure, but you gotta show that growth.
Yeah, you can't just say it. The whole point of TV is that you show it. That's called visual storytelling for a reason.
Unless you're Disney, in which case you just say, here, psst, hey kid, buy this book. It'll tell you everything.
Or go to Fortnite.
Yeah, we'll go to Fortnite.
Ugh. Too bad we don't play Fortnite. But regardless of your take on the Book of Boba Fett, I don't think anyone can deny that this whole scene with this whole chase was just bad.
Well, people were denying it. People were trying to protect it online. And look, again, it becomes a thing where anybody can't have criticism anymore about these kind of stuff, because if you do, literally Disney/Marvel fans come out and attack you for anything. And it's just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I personally think that, whatever happened to a time where we could have criticism without having anybody get upset about it, it's tiresome, it's stupid, and guess what? It looked like cheesy crap. If you don't like that, guess what you can do about it?
Not insult cheesy crap?
You can get angry online and make yourself look like a moron. You can voice your opinion in a civil manner, or you can behave like children. Let's be honest, we all know that most people who are watching Boba Fett, with us, obviously not all, who were defending this online, were probably doing one of either the first or the latter, not the middle. We can be civil.
All you have to do is talk, not scream.
But yeah, not interested in this show, don't have really much vested interest in this character anymore because of what they've done to him, and go Power Rangers.
Go Power Rangers!
Copyright strike incoming!
Woo! Let's move on. This next client is so dumb. Doctor Who is in a video game.
Okay, so I have nothing more to say about this. It speaks for itself. It's Eve's first major crossover, and some players aren't happy about it. So Eve Online is a video game that you can play online. To me, it looks like No Man's Sky, a game which I've actually played.
To me, it looks like a ripoff of No Man's Sky, a game I've watched my husband play.
People were upset about it because they didn't think Doctor Who actually fits with this universe, and I don't really know enough to say otherwise, but I'm looking at these two characters here, and I'm like, what the heck?
Agreed.
We have Dr. Karen and Tom Overbaked. And yes, that is a joke. Understand that I am making a joke because Tom Baker's scarf is on him, and when you overbake something, it turns brown. It's a joke. If you really find it so offensive, then comment if it offends you so much.
And then go get therapy.
Because it's a joke. It's not racism. It's a joke. Anyways, I personally don't have any vested interest in this game. I just kind of think that this is like a last gasp of a dying franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that the female doctor experiment has failed.
Absolutely.
I think that the show is in the worst place it's been ever.
Absolutely.
And at this point, we should put it out of its misery because it's a mercy killing.
Seriously, absolutely.
And if you don't agree, guess what? You don't have to agree. But you fundamentally don't understand Doctor Who. So you cannot agree, and you're more than welcome to. But then it means you don't understand Doctor Who and the whole nuance of the show, in my opinion. And if you disagree with that as well, you're welcome to. But it will not change my opinion. So cry and scream all you want, but it won't change the fact that this show to me is dead. I am chronicling its demise, and I will point and laugh and make fun of the stupidity because it's fun. And it gives me enjoyment to make fun of it.
It does, actually.
So if I'm not getting enjoyment from the show itself, I'm going to make fun of the show that other people might get enjoyment of. And if that bothers you so much, you might want to ask yourself, why does it matter some random person's opinion online? Figure out that one. You might need a sonic screwdriver for that.
Ouch.
But yeah, so, I'm sure this is done decently, but, I have no interest in this game. I have no interest in Doctor Who anymore, and this is not going to save it. Nice try.
Yeah. Moving on. El Zorro!
When freedom is a memory and justice is outlawed, the just must become outlaws. Zorro is astonishingly a hot property right now with a handful of different projects in the works, one of which is a retelling of the same basic story with a female lead.
Dumb idea.
It's going to the CW of all places.
So it's really a bad idea.
Yeah, and I wasn't interested in it regardless. I don't understand why suddenly out of the blue Zorro is now something people are needing to adapt. This is the second time we've talked about Zorro in a past month or so, and I'm kind of confused by this.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's because he's of Hispanic origin and they want some more Hispanic representation.
Maybe, but then bring back Zorro.
Or just bring back that old TV show in which he's a teenager in high school holding up his grandfather's legacy. That was a good show.
I've never seen it, but regardless, a CW show, if it wasn't already something that first off, the idea itself was stupid, and then you're literally going to put it on the CW.
That's even more stupid.
So not only have you come up with a stupid idea, you are now taking that stupid idea and have expanded on it and built a stupid house that literally looks terrible, that is built on literally an island made out of wood with holes drilled in it for air holes that's floating on the water. That was a really weird analogy, but basically, you're sunk.
You guys are so dumb.
The CW is for sale. I wonder why.
Because of things like this!
I don't think anyone's gonna buy it.
No.
Just throwing it out there, because, this is garbage.
You guys are dead in the water, and not even Walker is going to save you, unless you've given Chuck Norris a cameo, which I still haven't heard about.
There.
I need to know!
Then look it up.
There's been no answer.
You'll be okay.
Okay.
Alright, but yeah, another weird project with Zorro in the works. Probably not gonna do very well, because, I liked Zorro. I used to watch it with my dad when I was younger. I used to love it. I used to even have a Zorro mask that I made myself. As a little kid, I used to run around with a sword and say that I was Zorro.
Aw.
I better not see any art of it, or I'm going to destroy whoever it is.
He's not kidding.
Don't test me. Art with waffles is allowed.
Moving on. Ricky Gervais is in our waiting room today.
Okay. So you see, you're in no position to lecture the public about anything. Comedian Ricky Gervais has recently slammed celebrities who constantly use their influence to virtue signal, asserting that the people with nothing became tired of being lectured by people who had everything.
He is not wrong.
Now, I'm sure everybody by now has heard about Ricky Gervais and his speech at the Golden Globes, which I obviously took part of for his thing.
And it was absolutely legendary.
Yeah, and he was right. He seems very in touch with us and reality, and unfortunately these other, celebrities who virtue signal and whatever are stupid. And he's right. We don't want to hear from people who have everything about how trapped and how relatable it is, because when you spell out we're all in this together with your yachts when we're in lockdown, You really aren't thinking very clearly now, are you?
No. Then again, they don't need to think. Yeah, they have other people do the thinking for them.
That, and also here's what I'll say about celebrities, okay? In general, celebrities are people whose job it is just to pretend to be other people who are way more interesting than they will ever be.
That is true.
So basically, a long story short is a celebrity's job is to play someone you actually care about when the real person is probably someone who has very little personality, very little about them that is interesting, and yet they're going to preach to you.
Gary calls them adult pretenders, right?
Well, that's what they are. They pretend to be people that they aren't, that are way more interesting. And those people are like people you look up to or whatever, and then the real people are just like garbage. Long story short, don't ever follow your favorite actor on social media. Trust me, you do not need that kind of influence or to see that, because trust me, the people you look up to in the movies and TV shows are usually not the actual people who are the actors themselves.
With the exception of Ricky Gervais and Keanu Reeves.
For what we know.
That is our last client of the day, which means it is time for the diagnosis of the week.
We have an interesting diagnosis, a new one this week.
Do tell.
The diagnosis for this week is atychiphobia, which is the fear of failure. Basically, it's anxiety and worry about certain situations and basically getting very upset and frightful. And what's this have to do with what we're talking about? These people aren't getting frightful, whatever. Well, they are. Because they're reshooting, they're changing, they're going back to other classic IPs because they're afraid of failure. Because they're afraid of making original ideas because of the fear that they will fail. Because that's what they will do. Because these people are devoid of creativity and don't realize it. So they go and they find someone else's creative project and they try to make it and adapt it to basically stand on its shoulders. And that usually fails as well, but at least garners some sort of reaction because they're standing on the shoulders of people much better than them. But let's be honest, they're all afraid of failure, and that's why they don't take any risks. That's why we're getting all these race-bent, gender-swapped, all this stuff. That's why they're reshooting Ms. Marvel, is because it's not good, and that's literally what's happening here. So I feel like this is a very good diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
But now it brings us to the final part of our video, the remedy of the week.
And this week, we are going to send you to our friend, Kai MFS. We purchased one of his books.
Yes, Kai is the author of the book, which is Space Crime Domino. It's a great book. You can read that. There's a link, as you can see here, to read it. You can even read the first 2 chapters on his website.
He also now has a daily live stream at night called Light Night Delight. We stopped by there a couple of times, and it's interesting. And my husband has also read his book cover to cover.
Yeah, and Kai's a good guy. He's someone who's out there and he's going outside of Hollywood and making new things that for people to enjoy. And he's now trying to do this live stream. So what you should do is pick up your bookmarks or your pencils and head on over there and tell him
Gothic Therapy referred you.
But yeah. So that's all we got for this video. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. Also, follow us both on Twitter at Master of the TDS and at Writing Raven 2. We are also now both on Getter at Master of the TDS and at Writing Raven. Follow my husband on Twitch and Instagram at Master of the TDS. We also have an Instagram for our channel at yt.gothic.therapy. You can also follow us on Discord and buy some of our merch in the links below. And follow me on Wattpad at GothicWriter613 for well-written stories that are not woke and respect the source material.
Yeah, so that's all we have for this week, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.
Catch us on the